Call to order the Capital Improvement Committee meeting of February 28th at 10 a.m. Obviously, we're here to review the capital request. The first one we're going to speak with is Ms. Furno, the town clerk.
Good morning. First pass these out. Kind of see what I'm talking about.
Thank you.
Oh, good, the old format. Yeah.
Oh, here they go. Like,
Something familiar. Aye.
right?
You're what? Are you on this one? I'll be back. We already did police. I was thinking that they were on, but they're not. Okay.
No.
You're up and running.
All right, so first I just passed out for priority one would be our climate-controlled storage room. I put this in a few years ago. It's the storage room right here behind us that we store a lot of records, obviously, because being keeper of the records, we can make sure all these are secure and in a safe location. If you look, I did attach pictures, if you can see the state of the room, which obviously needs a lot of work. It is not climate controlled, so as you can see in the very last page, there's a book there that shows the condition of one of our books.
Where is this in the building?
Right there, the one. that
Okay,
book,
storage
yeah.
room. Yeah, that's
And I do share that with assessors where they keep their old records in there as well. So we're keeping in what we have to keep locked up, and we do have a little bit of storage upstairs, but that can be upstairs, but this is the, climate controlled is the biggest thing. We did work with the library to see what they used, and I believe they have a certain room that they keep their records in. I forget the lady's name, I know Betsy Young's was one of them that helped us. So we were able to remove some of them because actually they were in mildew in a dangerous state, we had to get rid of them. So that's a quick one on that one. Next one would be a vault that we're required to have, Mass General Law. Same thing, fire resistant, water resistant, moisture controlled. I did get a price, it was just an estimate from somebody, it was $300,000. I did attach Secretary Galvin's requirements that we would have to have for the vault. With that, obviously, you have to have a cement floor and whatnot, so it couldn't be on this location. Originally, we had thought if the police ever moved out of downstairs, we could make a vault room down there. In the meantime, we're talking to Mike some time ago, down in the gymnasium, there's a locker rooms down there that already have cement floors, the cement walls, plenty of storage. So that would actually, if we could use that, I could have some, we can have somebody come in and kind of give us a quote on making that our vault in our storage room, which would eliminate these two, which I think would be also cheaper to do down the gymnasium, because we could actually store our vault stuff that we have, and regular storage that we need to keep, election equipment, voting booths, tables, whatever else Adam needs to set up on the elections. So that would actually be my first recommendation, is actually to use the locker room down in the gymnasium. Like I said, I think it'd actually be cheaper, and it would also help Jean. I have 2 safes in Jean's office that if we could eliminate getting those out of there for her, to give her more space. I do have a safe in my office, which we can eliminate that to give us more room.
He left.
Town is growing. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, but being the keeper of the records, I have to have a lot of permanent records, which is paper documents. We're up to about 8,800 residents, so with that comes a lot of paperwork. A lot of, we got the town meetings, vital records, lots of stuff that need to be secured in a safe location. Other than that, I think it's kind of cut and dry. Any questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions, but we'll go through everybody in the group first. Do you have anything?
I do not.
We'll go in a circle. Shirley?
For a type of, well, you're probably looking in the direction too as to what we recommend. But just wondering an estimate of what it would take to do that.
Down in the gymnasium? That I don't know, we never pursued that. I can actually try and find somebody to get us some sort of a quote.
Yeah, there was an idea that came up 6 months ago or so.
Maybe even longer than that.
Chris and I were just talking in general about storage and stuff like that.
And saving money on
so
top of it, you know.
Between the two of us, we thought about that area down there when we took a walk down and looked at it. Dimensionally of what she needs for square footage, that space actually would work. It's very close to what the state statute is recommending for her. And that's as far as it went on that. We did go in there and we looked at it. I actually went in there with the town administrator, looked at it as well. Need some clarity as to whose space that actually is or who's allowed to use that space. It appears to be just random stuff that's just there. If it was organized, you could actually expand one of the closets or just organize the closets of the gymnasium area.
Right, because a lot of stuff
and
that we
get
have,
started.
it's there's closets in the gym itself. I believe, Adam, there's a few of them where he keeps the voting booths
Yeah.
on it. So that, the stuff that would be in that storage room, the locker room, could come out of there and actually use those storage
Correct.
rooms in the gymnasium. So they wouldn't lose any storage themselves.
The ideal situation with that is she has the elevator, or the town has the elevator to access it. Not getting ready to, but just in case you're not here, that somebody would be able to access that space with an elevator properly. It's somewhat a self-contained area. There's nothing above it. Two walls of that are to the outside, two walls because it's on an inside corner of the town hall. And that's a block wall, so it pretty much meets what her needs are. So one thing that she may not need in there is the windows, but if we come to a conclusion as to whether or not that's a viable space, it should happen sooner than later because we're in the middle of, as you know, Shirley, going out for bid on the gymnasium windows, and those, what's there, 3 in there, Adam? 4 windows in there, so,
In that area.
In that little
we're
locker room
talking
in that little locker room area. So we could eliminate that off of the proposals or the bids that we get in, and because they would have to be blocked up or something would have to happen to make her
Right,
area, or that area secure.
right. The doors would have to be changed.
So there's a little bit to it, but it
Right.
might be a viable space. It's not going to be used for anything else. I don't
Right.
see us going back to using the locker rooms and showers and stuff. They've been disabled for years.
Point of clarification.
Yeah.
So those windows in there, they were included?
Yes, no, they're all included, yeah.
Okay. I don't know why, but I was just thinking that it was,
Yeah, but,
On the inside.
yeah, because nobody's ever gone in.
Itself, yeah.
Gone in there, but we did include all of the windows that are in that area.
but we haven't, I mean, that.
We haven't awarded a bid on that or anything.
Supposed to be ready,
Well, the bids are going to be opened up on March 11th, I believe.
so he's, all right, he's done.
So,
Okay.
Again, if it's a viable thing, it's something that we should consider, that's all. It's something, obviously, the condition is of that room there with
Yep.
the books, the safe has a bunch of stuff on it, isn't acceptable for long-term storage of documents. So, something to be considered, that's all.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, not appreciating any opinions you have with that, any direction.
And the goal of our conversation with Chris and myself was to see what's the best thing for the town
Oh, right.
economically and to properly secure her requirements that she needs.
Right.
She's mandated by the state to have this, and we're not
Right.
doing it. So it's something to consider.
Chris, do you have to have paper records?
Yes.
Can you have digital overlay?
I have to have paper,
Okay.
yeah, because you can't always depend on digital. they say. Right now anyways.
Well, and a lot of the records that you have are the ancient records.
Oh, we go back
for
to,
lack of a
yeah, we
better
go back to the 1700s.
description. Yep,
Yeah,
those are the ones that are more critical because
Right.
everything
yeah.
was handwritten back in those days.
yeah.
Well, you're a
Legit.
history guy.
And we don't have volunteers scanning them all to digitizing, right?
Right, and some records they can't, some are not public records, so we're kind of limited
Oh,
on
I
that,
see, yeah.
on that too. Yeah.
Have anything for her, Ben?
I'm good.
Brandon?
I do not.
No.
Very good.
Thanks,
Thank you
Chris.
for your time.
So just for clarity, that's just for the vault and the climate control area, you don't?
And the storage.
Do you have anything for your 5-year plan, anything else that you would?
I am looking at getting some books restored,
Yeah.
some of my vital record books, I have to get them new binding on them,
Yeah.
the pages are getting all frayed.
Yeah.
So I was planning on having somebody come in this summer to kind of give me a price on how we can get those
Yeah.
books secured.
Yeah, so if you could, to help us is, over the next couple of weeks, if you could
Find
email
somebody to-
Lisa
okay.
or whatever, so we can put it on, get it into consideration in our 5-year plan.
Okay.
So if there's something you think you're going to do between 23 and 28, then
Okay, all right. that
we
works.
should have it on there.
Okay, sounds good.
Thanks, Chris.
All right, thank you.
Okay, that took care of the town clerk. Next up is Mr. Matthew Benoit, the Community Development Director, with his capital request.
Good morning, members of the committee, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for having me. I have handouts in case.
So Mike, is this also submitted digitally from Chris?
I can't confirm that right at this moment, but if
I've not
it's,
seen it on SharePoint.
I'll bring them over.
okay, so click on that square.
Which square?
That one? Click on that.
That's Ken's.
All right, so on the documents, go on the document, you're just gonna pull up. So, go into the CIC thing. See if she doesn't have it in there, she might not have it in there because
don't see it.
I surprised attacked her last week to make sure that she had her stuff ready for this week, since we hastily put our agenda together.
So I think one of the goals is to have as much of this up online prior to the meeting, or?
Correct. So this is something, excuse me for a minute, Matt.
Sure.
This is something that we need to address as a committee, because we have a glitch in the system, okay? And the glitch in the system is SharePoint is only accessible to anybody with a .gov email because of the security risks associated with the town website and email system. So now Shirley doesn't have it, Ellie doesn't have it, and anybody else that, I know those two don't have the .gov email, so it doesn't do them any good. You have a .gov email?
Through
Yeah.
FinCom.
Correct. So if you were to get off FinCom and you were just on this, I don't know if you would retain that. So it's something that we have to figure out on how to get this information out to everybody. And that's something I guess I'll talk to Matt about to see how Matt and Dave and IT to figure out how we get past that problem. Do you have a .gov?
I do.
You do?
Through the police department.
You have one too? Yeah. So we have at least 2 members that don't have it, which is a problem. Everybody has to be accessible to it, or we have a situation now that Ellie doesn't have the information. So, and I'll make sure that Chris gets this sent to the Capitol View SharePoint. You good? Dick?
Was that?
Didn't that answered everything for
Yeah,
you?
yeah, thank you, appreciate that.
Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
That's okay. With your permission, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to remove my mask. It's not
No, that's fine.
probably great to ask for money while you're wearing a mask. So,
Well, if you're carrying a weapon, you're not supposed to wear a mask and committing a crime, but continue on.
okay, so my name's Matthew Benoit. I'm the Community Development Director here for the town of Douglas. I started in October. This will be my first capital request from so far for this department. I tried to keep this as simple as possible with one request, possible more to follow in the coming years, but they would all start with this request. And this is a request for purchase of geographic information software, which is, in short, GIS software. This is our data-driven software to produce maps, create maps, and respond to citizens' requests for maps. Ultimately, our software was purchased originally through the Conservation Commission in 2008. Back then, there was a severe discount on Esri material, and the commission, I believe, would have purchased it for $400.
So that's your request, $400?
It is not. So that was a version of the software that's no longer maintained. It also has not been updated in our offices since 2008. The licenses have been renewed on an annual basis for a lot of town departments, but the data within the software has never been updated or maintained. One of the big issues that's happening with GIS software through Esri is that the current version that everyone uses, called ArcGIS Desktop, is no longer going to be maintained as of March of 2026. So they're rolling out a software called ArcGIS Pro. That will then become the standard for all of their GIS softwares. Desktop, online database, they're all going to get rolled into one software. So the issue here is that nobody in town has that software at all. So what they're offering to communities that do not have the software yet is to purchase both. So you can operate the base software that they're maintaining now and purchase ArcGIS Pro to get used to the software over time, and then you can hopefully train the other departments that need the software moving forward. I saw that as a major cost savings to us because we have many departments that have GIS. The police department have it for what the police need. Assessors have it. I believe the water department has a version of the software, and then our department does under conservation. What I'd be looking for here is to purchase the software at a perpetual license, so there's no annual licensing cost for renewal for my department as the director, so that it's, well, it'd be one license, but not tied to one computer. Someone could use it on other machines, but only one person at a time, one user at a time. In the handout that I provided you, I answered the committee's questions. As I tried not to be long-winded about this stuff, but I'm happy to answer any questions in regard to my responses, but I've also attached the purchasing costs that are right off Esri's website, showing the perpetual license. And on the reverse, the final page was the kind of the full rundown of the software and what's happening next through the GIS specialist over at the Central Mass Regional Planning Commission. He's kind of the local guru on this stuff, and I lean on him for the recommendation here. The good news here is that if the software was to be purchased in this coming fiscal year, we can apply for a discount and not have to pay the full $14,000. It's about $8,100 and change. Now, I believe the threshold for capital request is $10K, or is it $5K?
If it's not a reoccurring need that exceeds $10,000.
Okay.
And has a life expectancy greater than 4 years, I believe.
Okay.
It could be 5.
So this being over that at the initial cost, that's why I applied here, but the $8,100 does not include $3,000 annual maintenance until after 12 months.
Right.
So I asked for the request at $14K for the full base cost, even though it very well could be less.
Yeah, so just for clarity, the requirement is to come before capital on those guidelines, but you, if you had $2,500 and you felt there was a capital thing, then it would come before capital.
Understood.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I'm happy to answer any questions about this. One of the big issues is that transition of the outdated software. I would also have the ability to train other town departments in that, so we don't have to pay for training. But having 2 to 3 years to learn this while still operating the other functions of my office would be paramount to helping all the towns with this software. Happy to answer any questions that you have. This was the most important request that I've noticed since for my department since I started. Not having an active GIS portal and software for a community development department is unfortunate for our department, and having this stuff up to date would certainly do a lot of positive for our community and especially our department. So. happy to answer any questions.
Okay, so we're going to do the same serial situation sequence as far as questioning, except I'm going to go in reverse to give everybody an opportunity. And so, Brandon, do you have any questions for?
Do you have any current annual maintenance costs that you're paying right now? Is it outdated software?
Yeah, unfortunately, through the chair, for community development, the licenses haven't been renewed at all. So the annual cost that our department have is currently zero.
Zero.
To have those licenses renewed is somewhere, it's either $400 or $600 per user.
Okay.
Currently, the assessors have $2,000 annually. I don't know what the police is to renew, but there were 3 licenses given to our department originally in 2008, so there was 2 $600s and a $400. There was somewhere between $1,500 and $2,000 annually. I don't know if that had been paid for over the years or not, but no one's been using the software, no one's logged into it since that time.
Gotcha.
So certainly something that we need. Maintenance costs moving forward would be $3,000 just for maintenance, and that's training, seminars, webinars, stuff like that. But there would not be an annual license renewal because this is a perpetual license we're purchasing.
Okay, and that annual maintenance cost includes upgrades to the software as they issue them and all that stuff?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Registration for webinars and training
Right, okay.
as
Thank you.
needed.
Ben, you have anything?
Also.
Shirley?
Just for clarification, so the renewal would take care of everyone,
Just my department.
just your?
Yes, the other licenses and stuff, this is kind of the first domino, and this is a great question. This is really the first domino to fall for hopefully upgrading everyone and getting everyone onto the same software. But having someone learn that new software before it gets there, I figured I'd take the lead on that, since usually community development manages GIS and outright. I don't think I'd have too much to do with the police because it's sensitive material, and I don't think I have too much to do with that. But yeah, this perpetual license would just cover community development at this time. But in the future, there may be requests to expand this. But for the time being, just getting the ball started with our department seems like the only move I wanted to make right now.
Mr. Vandenberg?
Yeah, I'm on your website now, and I don't see a link anywhere for mapping on the website itself.
Yeah.
Scroll up a little.
Through the chairman, it's on the assessor's webpage. If you just plug
It's not on the community development web.
Correct. Yeah, so the assessors run a software that's called ArcGIS Online.
Yeah.
And the ArcGIS Online is so when they get their updated A&R plans and lot divisions and sales and deed transfers and all that, they can update that stuff right into ArcGIS Online.
Right.
Which is what the assessors do, and that's their primary function. For the community development department, we're going to have an updated master plan to do, an open space plan that's currently in progress, open space committee. And all of these things are going to require maps of different varieties throughout town. And we're either going to source that out to CMRPC or other map creating companies at an expense, or over time, we're going to be able to do those things in-house. If we do them in-house, we save a lot of money there too.
So if I'm a citizen and I'm logging on at community development, it's not self-evident at this point where the map is.
That's correct.
So is that going to be updated on the website?
Yes, sir.
Because it's not clear from here, you got to go to assessors to,
Yes.
okay.
I have multiple trainings coming up with our IT director. There's a couple in the coming weeks, and one of them was being able to modify and maintain our own page to make it current.
Yeah. And even on the assessors, there's no clear
On the assessors, yeah, it
map,
would
is there?
be. Yeah, it would be, click on the assessors, click on
I
the
did,
page.
yeah.
No, you're still in community
The zoning map
development. So
itself is on the
when you
town
go up a
website.
little bit, see GIS Informational Systems Maps.
I
It's
see.
there, and there's
Okay.
also a link at the bottom of the page on that one.
And that's for parcel data.
Right.
Yep.
I found my own house on it already,
Yes.
so.
Yeah.
So that might be just going forward on the community development page itself, if there was a link or something, or a notification to the citizens that that's a portal for maps.
Sure,
I think
yes.
that would be helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. That assessor's piece is really for assessing, but we'd be able to create updated maps like zoning maps, water resources, infrastructure, things like that we don't currently have, and it's not available to the public.
You just made yourself very busy.
Yes.
1 second, Shirley had
Yeah,
something.
sure.
Go ahead, Shirley.
So Matt, you said that the zoning map is on the town clerk's.
Yeah, it's usually.
No, the zoning map is on the town clerk's page.
Typically, that's where they are, but I haven't seen it in our website yet. But I had to go get it from the company that creates it, CAI. Usually, they have a contract with the assessors to produce that annually, I believe they do. So we didn't have ours updated, I just had to go get it because the fire department asked me for it.
So out of conversation, and I'll get to you in a second, Adam, out of conversation between Mr. Vandenberg and Shirley is it'd probably be a good idea to have a link on your community developments to the GIS and just a link. Regardless of where you go from this point, just to get a simple link to the mapping as well as the zoning maps.
Yes.
Would be helpful, because I would have never thought to go to community development, but apparently other people would think of that, so.
I'd love to have
No,
it.
because I'm just used to looking up stuff through the assessors because of what I do for work, but it doesn't mean that that's how people would normally think about it.
Yeah, I went to assessors too.
You-
I don't see the zoning map on town
Right.
clerk.
Right.
Another thing.
Right. So,
Having all that
I
stuff.
think that would fall under the purview of the community development director to make sure that we have those accessible links on the maps.
Absolutely.
Just seems like it's.
But I would like to get that, Adam.
I'm just going to jump up here.
Yeah.
Mr. Can't see it, I'll steal it. So I want to speak on how important this software is. So a couple of years ago, as the highway foreman, when I took over the responsibility, we started mapping out our system, our drainage system, our cross drains, our catch basins. It all came about with our MS4 requirements, which was all new to us. Nothing was documented, nothing was put down on paper at all. It's basically I go to Ernie and where does this pipe go, or I go to this guy, and they all know. So I started on the free version. Bill kind of helped me, and then we ended up going back and forth. And basically half my stuff is stuck in different versions right now. You can actually see, that's fun. And half my stuff is stuck back and forth. We need to transition over to this whole system, including the highway department. Matt's going to be responsible for MS4 for us. I know that was part of the deal. But I've been trying to mark it all out, and the more knowledge we can put down on paper and we can get into a system, the better off we all are. You know?
Absolutely.
So, I mean, it's very important. I'm 100% behind Matt on this, and like I said, and we definitely will benefit from it.
Thank you.
Thanks, Adam. Anybody else have anything? All right, I have a couple questions. Highway department, obviously, he came up, it was mentioned. You mentioned the assessor's office, the police department. Each one of them have to buy a license?
Yeah, depending on how it was originally purchased, unless you buy it as a perpetual license up front.
No, stop for a minute.
Yeah, sorry.
Forget yesterday, you're proposing a new program now. The new program, does that have to be purchased by all of these departments?
Eventually, yes.
So the answer is yes. So I personally would like to see a collective effort amongst all the departments to find out, because if you're saying you get a discount at $8,100 if you buy it this year, but then, oh, well, we didn't know about that. So now the police department, the highway department, and anybody else, assessor's office,
Right.
they could potentially spend $14,000, that's $41,000 right there, plus their $3,000 maintenance, is that per license?
It's hard to say right now.
So you need to get that information, because that's critical. 'Cause
Sure.
Our finance director will want that information as well. We went through this
Sure.
whole process and I was a pain with the radio project as well. I wanted to know how much the batteries were and how often they got changed. It's just, that's important for us to figure out the budget. So
Sure, I understand that.
I personally would like to understand how that affects, if everybody's got to switch to this, there should be some sort of system that we could get one program in there, and then if there's a residual license for the fire and highway and police and
Yes.
finance committee.
That's a great point.
Whatever it is, we need to know what the whole cost is.
Agreed. I apologize, Mr. Chairman. All I had really to go off of with the time was to focus on my department.
I know, we didn't give you any time,
that's
and
okay.
and I'll apologize to the committee, to you for that. What I'm trying to prevent is having individual little focus groups.
Me too.
Try to get everybody as a combined group
Me too.
to see what's best for it.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm
And-
100% in favor of what you're proposing, however, there's some other information that we're going to need in there.
No, I fully agree with you,
Yeah.
sir. And part of that is starting somewhere, of course, and seeing how this would roll out to the other departments is going to be complicated.
Yeah.
So right now, their annual license renewals are there, and they will continue to be there until one of us, and I am volunteering,
Right.
can get a good hold on this new software before we transition, because we're not sure yet if we should be purchasing a software, wrap them all together, that's going to become obsolete in 2026,
Yeah.
or if we purchase this version now and then prepare for the 2026 changeover collectively at a future capital.
Yep.
So that's where I really started here. I tried to keep it small instead of go for the big chunk right out the gate.
Right, so you have until 2026 when this is, we're going to turn into a pumpkin. So
Yes.
you have 24 and 25 in which to put it on, so if it's something that, and this is only a suggestion, I'm not telling you what to do, you could put it on for 24 or 25, and that gives you enough time from now until next year when we go through this process again to refine all your information.
Certainly.
I did talk to about a couple other departments that are coming up before us because we don't have a defined scope nor a value to it. And I talked to finance director, and the suggestion was maybe we put to be determined on the value of it. So if you don't know what it is, maybe, and the rest of the committee has to agree to this too.
Sure.
That they don't even know about this conversation because I'm just bringing it up. If they're comfortable with going on that premise to put to be determined on that, the other side of it is I don't want everything on our list that has say to be determined. We have two that I'm aware of, and now you could potentially be the third one. So if you could reach out and get some more information to see how it's going to affect these other departments as cost-wise, if there's a combined program that you can buy that's going to satisfy the town, and then maybe they only have to pay a percentage for their license, their user license is what you're referring to, I'm assuming. I don't see why we would have to buy the program 4 times.
I don't think we would
We'd have the
either.
program, so you would probably only be a user thing. Maybe if you get, I don't know if you talked to Dave in the IT department yet, it would be good to bring him into it, where he's the responsible party for all our IT stuff.
Yes,
so.
we did talk briefly about
Yep.
that. We did consider this a possible IT purchase eventually down the road because of all the licensing governing that. But, yeah, and again, I don't want to repeat it again, but I figured we start somewhere.
Oh, yeah, no, it's good conversation to bring out there. I just hearing what you're saying, you weren't afforded enough time to actually dig into it because
Sure.
I think it's only been 5 days since I go, hey, you're up on the hot seat. So you did good on what you have so far, but I think
Appreciate it.
there's a little bit more information that we may need.
Certainly. Okay.
Shirley, did you have something you want to? She keeps looking at me, so that I know that means she
I'm
wants to talk.
sorry. So are we encouraging Matt to proceed and get more information, or just to proceed while he's getting information, but this is what he's looking for this year?
Well, so let me answer that question real quick. I think the goal of the committee is to encourage any department to come forward with the stuff that they feel that they need.
Right.
So I think we're encouraging them to come, it's a need that he recognizes as being important.
Right.
We have the foreman from the highway department that supports that and sees a strong need for it. So I think if we get some clarity as to what those unanswered questions that I brought up and Brandon brought up, I think we can define it a little bit and we can get it onto a 5-year plan, whether it falls in the first year, second year, third year, fourth year, fifth year, whatever it is. So, but I think we need more information in order to score it and put it where we need it.
Okay. So just to review, Mr. Chairman, trying to get the estimated costs that we're paying now for the other departments, plus licensing, and what it would cost to upgrade those to the new pro software, and see if there's additional licensing expenses there.
And if anybody on the committee disagrees with me, just speak up. I don't think it matters what they're currently paying on it.
Okay.
If you're looking to upgrade the program, what is the program going to cost for buy the program, the licensing, and the maintenance of that program? And then the committee can make a
Yeah, I can.
better decision on that.
I can partially answer that now if you'd like.
Yep.
If they were purchasing the software outright, just like this, and I know we talked about whether or not they need it outright or not. If each department did need it, your math was pretty accurate on this. It's $14,000 for the perpetual license, and one user could use it on multiple terminals in each department. So you're talking, like you said, an additional $42,000 plus 9,000 annual maintenance costs spread across those 3 departments. That's maximum. Like if they were getting the full-fledged advanced GIS that I would be purchasing, I don't think those departments are going to need the advanced. They just need the levels to operate. Okay? So if you have the advanced software in one hub, that being me, and then you could have the basic in the other 3, it would be substantially less. So the breakout was, I believe it was $4,000 for the basic package annually and $7,000 for the intermediate. Multiplied by 3 for those other departments in any one of those. So I can put that on paper, so we have it.
You can put it on, but it's on assumptions. So I would, myself, again, would rather have it more factual. Because I know that if I buy a program that I'm going to use for an estimating program within my company, and I want Dick to use it, Ken to use it, and Ben to use it, I only have to buy the user license for those 3 additional
Sure.
user licenses.
That's what
I
I'm
don't have to keep buying that program over. What you're proposing is each department's going to buy that program potentially.
Maximum, right.
Right.
Yeah.
And even though I'm always inclined to overestimate what we need so that to ensure that it goes through capital,
Right.
through the processing and actually gets done. At the same time, I want to make sure that we're giving them accurate information to the
Sure.
to
I
the
agree.
people. Because there's going to be somebody sitting at the town meeting that knows a lot more about this IT stuff than I have even, other than turning on the on button, is going to pop up with these questions, and you need to be able to answer it.
Sure. I can be absolutely prepared for that.
Yep.
Great.
And if you, did you consider any other long-term plans for the 5 years?
They would kind of hinge based off of this request.
Yeah.
One of the issues, and I'm not going to call this a main issue right now, but our plotter is an inkjet.
Yep.
So when we print with a combination of colors outside of blue, magenta, and yellow, the inkjet really shows, especially when you use green. And your map says they print with lines. So a laser jet plotter would be in the future, presuming we have the capabilities to produce the maps that we want to. That'd be a pretty large expense. Those things are anywhere between $15,000 and $20,000.
Would that be a combination scanner printer or just a
Yes.
printer? Yeah.
All.
So that's something that could be used to scan in various documents that we have stored everywhere in this building?
Yes, sir. Going to be made available to all town departments.
No, but it's something that you could use for senior work off or whatever,
course.
to take all that stuff that's upstairs and scan it in.
Yeah.
Does it only do large format, or can you do smaller stuff as far as scanning it in? Or would
Depending
you
on what
need
we
a second
purchase.
note? Like if I had a whole bunch of these and you have E-size drawings, does it only do the E-size drawings? Can I run this through?
Plan-sized docs that don't fit in a regular printer, so
Right.
24 by 36 or larger. Anything that's,
Okay.
they usually have a 36-inch deck, and anything longer than that on any side, if it's 36 by 58, just put it in sideways.
Right. But will it scan the smaller stuff like that?
No, it wouldn't, and no,
No.
I mean, it could, but.
No, I'm just
it'll
asking.
print it on a
Yeah.
ribbon page, and you have to cut it out.
No, to scan it in for a document
Yeah.
retention.
Yeah, you could.
So you don't have to print it out, but to scan it in, it would scan in the smaller
Yeah,
stuff.
but no different than any of the scanners we already have.
Okay. Does anybody else have anything for Mr. Benoit?
Good info.
Great. Okay. Well, thank you very much, everybody.
Right,
Appreciate
thank
your
you
time.
very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, Adam, we have a seat all warmed up for you.
I'll start with highway or maintenance?
Whichever, you can,
All right, I'll
switch
start with
whatever
maintenance.
order that you
I'll
want.
start with maintenance, just in case John shows up. He's in another meeting next door, so.
Yeah.
I'll start with my stuff. I didn't make copies. I just, unfortunately, I was behind the 8 ball with all this. I was late with all the snowstorms and everything, so I did fill out the new forms, and this morning, they finally uploaded my 5th through 17th capital request.
What's on SharePoint?
It is, it's all on SharePoint this morning, so you didn't have time to look at it, I understand.
Adam, can I say something? Just-
Absolutely.
So community development was on SharePoint this morning,
Okay. Yeah, he would be on
but the town clerk wasn't,
No,
so
that might have been a hiccup on her.
you're on SharePoint now.
Yes, I actually had to send it to Lisa. Lisa uploaded it for me. I couldn't gain access to SharePoint, but
I know
they're
the
working on
town
that.
clerk scrambled because after our last meeting, I let her know that she was coming up.
Let's see, so I'll just go through my list. Do you want to just do this year? Do you want to do all 5 years? It's how the
Well,
committee would like to go.
start with this year, and then is it going to take you long to go through all of
I
them?
can run through
Yeah,
everything.
so do this year of
Okay.
what you're thinking of, and
All right.
then run through the list for the 5 years.
So FY '23, I have the post office and adult social center parking lot paving. It's in horrible shape. We've been patching it. Fortunately, I have pictures I can pass around through this. We keep filling the potholes in the parking lot. I've had a senior trip. One fell, one didn't. So really need to get the whole parking lot done. In the past, I've asked for just the parking lot, not the expansion lot. After this winter and the way things are crumbling in the expansion lot, it probably makes more sense to do it all at once and have the whole thing done. That was at a cost of $90,000, which that price is going to go up. Unfortunately, that quote was from the end of last year, and if everybody knows and you watch TV, you see the market, it's going up really.
Oil dictates
Yeah.
asphalt.
Exactly. So right now, he is out, going to get me a new quote. He's waiting for the new price to be set because they're fluctuating so hard that, and the quotes are usually only good for, 2 to 3 months the most. So I'm waiting it out a little bit, and he's going to get me a new quote once they start up again. But at this time, it's around $90,000 was the best estimate we had. That was my number one
So
priority. Sorry.
before we jump, so just to make it easier for everybody, let's just hit each one with any questions. The only
Okay.
question I have for that, and I'm sorry I'm jumping out of line, but I said I would rotate the sequence. Is the parking lot a condition, the parking lot a condition of our lease with the post office?
It is, correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So I just want to make
Yep.
sure that
Yeah, my biggest
everybody's
concern
aware of that.
was
We also
the
have the
trip and fall hazard when I brought it up. That was our biggest concern. The post office has complained a little bit about the potholes. We just go fill them in. But the senior center, that's kind of the
Right.
important thing. But yes, it
Yeah,
is.
that's very important, but it's
Yep.
also.
Yep.
the-
Correct.
Anybody else have anything on the paving for the parking lot?
This is building maintenance we're looking at.
Correct.
Okay.
In the pictures, everything, all my stuff is uploaded. You'll see one item for the form that we were sent in a second, basically same name, but it's a PDF. It has the pictures and the backing that go with it.
Adam, does it make much difference to get different bids for the?
Oh, absolutely.
Or is everybody
Absolutely.
about the same?
No, absolutely, no, it definitely goes different. So if John doesn't have his Chapter 90 price set for this year, this Chapter 90, his pavement bid set yet. Sometimes if it's the right company, his price, we could use them to do this project. And that would be lower than having the separate company who I used here come out to bid. Last year, we didn't pave, so I had no one to reach out to give me an estimate. So I called this company that was working in town.
And that's on the statewide
The
bid
state,
list?
correct.
So,
Well, it'll be a contracted price that Matt and John put out.
Right, so, interrupt you for a minute. Mr. Administrator?
Yeah.
Just for clarity for the committee, if they're on a statewide contract, does it need to go out for multiple bids, or we can use somebody off the list?
If they're on a statewide contract, we only need to make one contract, no bid, no advertising.
Okay. Thank you. Yep.
Okay. Anyone else with questions? Or Joe? Okay. My number 2 project is the municipal elevator roof. I know there was discussions about it with the larger roof that we're going to hopefully get done. I know a lot of the committees knew, same from last year, but we have a lot of projects coming forward. The main roof of this building is going to be one. It's fantastic. We've got leaks upstairs. I keep having them patched. So this elevator roof was put on in 1996 when they did the expansion of the school. And again, the roof's starting to leak, the seams are starting to open up. You'll see pictures that we've doubled up on seams. We have puncture holes, small ones starting. So this is a smaller roof compared to all the others, and it'd be nice to have that done so we don't have any more leaks. Luckily, knock on wood, nothing over the elevator has leaked, which is like a key thing. We always watch that the most because that's an expensive part of the whole renovation that they did. And so we just had some ceiling tiles wet in the bathrooms and some seam issues. So, and again, so that was my number 2 for $90,000.
Just for everybody's information, typical rubber roof is only warranted a maximum of 20 years. So that would put him up to 2016.
Yes, correct, same price. Shirley, I'll give you all these when I'm done, if you don't mind, 'cause I can, I know you don't have access to SharePoint, right?
That's right.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions on the roof? No? Okay, good.
My number 3 was the municipal lobby, the first and second floor lobbies. If you go out to the gym, you'll see how the seals are all broken on the window. You see the water getting in between it. I think we have plant life growing in one of them. And we actually looked at this project as a replacement of the whole window, but we did come across a gentleman who can replace just the glass. So instead of being $120,000, which we had a couple years ago, it's now $25,000. So it's a great project. It worked out well. He said the frames are in great shape. All we really need to do is replace the glass, first, second floor, staging, and we don't need to replace all the windows and all the frames, so which is great. They've been, like I said, they leak. You can go out there and see the ceiling tiles that are stained. We keep changing them out, and like I said, we've had them looked at a couple of times. Unfortunately, most of the guys want to sell you a window. They don't want to just replace the glass. This gentleman said they're in such good shape, we can replace just the glass. So that's $25,000 for that.
Well, quite the savings, so you reduce it by 80%.
Yeah. Yep.
So Adam, are you giving these to us in your order of preference?
Yes, correct.
Okay.
Yep.
Is there a document that just lists those in order?
Probably not on that one. I actually, unfortunately, I had these done the old way, and then we had a new format. Do you want to keep this for now? Or I can put want to put it on SharePoint.
Yeah, we'll get it on SharePoint.
I'll put it up on SharePoint. I'll make one and scan it in.
Because Shirley's going to want that copy.
Yep, exactly. Okay, my number 4 is our key system here at the town hall. So I'll go back through this, and then this is a very unfortunate circumstance. We used to use Blackstone Valley Lock in Uxbridge. The original owner, he passed away. He ended up with cancer. He passed away. They held our key system. We couldn't get access to key blanks or our records because of it's a certain type of key. It's Cava Peaks that does a lot of the keys here, not every key. Luckily, we've got a patchwork of a system. Well, it's not luckily, but so Cava Peaks has the rights to those keys. We don't have access to them. We're not a vendor, a dealership. So this gentleman passes away. I have no access to keys. I have to drive to South Boston to get a key made, so one of his work is about a year and a half later, buys the business, moves it over to Southbridge. We continue up and running. He's able to make the keys again. He catches COVID and passes away at 42 years old. And now we're back in the same boat. So I had a company come out who the school used. That's why you'll see it's from Doug Moore and Duncan. They came out, the gentleman went through every door, put a whole system together for us, and he basically, how many keys we would need, change out all the locks. You'd have master keys, and so we're asking for $38,000, and that should put the gym, us, this whole building, except for the police department, they have their own system. And then this is also a sergeant key, which is a more, I should say, like an easier key to have made. Joseph's Lock does it in Worcester. There's several companies in Worcester that do sergeant locks. So if one went out of business tomorrow, I'm not in the same boat I'm in right now. And that would be for $38,000, and that's my priority number 4, and that ends the FY23.
Does anybody have any questions from on FY23?
Just, you feel comfortable letting it go till?
It's for this year, it's my number 4, but I'm hoping we're in good shape, as in we have spare keys, Lisa has them locked up. We have some that over the years since I've taken over, we've made extra keys over time. When that first thing happened, it kind of shocked us into that, kind of situation. A lot of the offices here they have regular keys. I can go to Koopman's and get them made, which is weird. But then you go upstairs and they're all Carbon Peaks keys. So it's just how the system was done over the years, and unfortunately, it's patchwork from several different types, so. So my number 5, which is FY '24, is to replace some of the HVAC units that we have here at the town hall. So a few years back, we did get money for some air conditioning replacement, which is going to take place. It's part of the roof. We're hoping, we're going to do it before we get the roof done, or part of the roof project on the 2nd floor. These units would be down here, the cable office, the IT room. That one's starting to get old. We've had it patched and fixed, so this would do those rooms, plus some of the ductwork inside the 1st floor of the town hall. Every air conditioner has coils that the air runs through and it cools off. Well, those coils have to be sized correctly to the new unit. And unfortunately, our old units didn't need as much, but the new units need a little more. So you got to change the ductwork sizes. And so that's what number 5 is. It's for the HVAC units down here, 3 large units and the 3 small units on the 1st floor and actually 2nd floor. There's some that they tie together. And the ones that we have now are over 25 years old. We've done maintenance on them every year. We make sure they're running. They are R22, right?
Yeah, R22.
So, which is the old refrigerant, which they're not making anymore. So that's going to end up being an issue if something happens. And now they're moving away from the R410.
410, they're moving
Yeah.
into, in Europe, they have a blend that
Yeah.
actually has butane in it.
Yep, so I know they're moving away from the R410, which is so, we're going to jump 2 steps by doing it. We've waited so long, but like I said, we've maintained them. They look awful if you go out there and look at them. The guys, the repair company's surprised they're still running, but they are, and they're still working right now, so. But yeah, that's my number 5, and that's my.
Inefficiently.
Inefficiently, correct. Yeah, and we did look into green communities for grants and stuff, but they frown upon air conditioning, which I learned as I asked, because air conditioning isn't savings. They're looking for big savings, heat and AC, like they did at the library, they save there. Here, they're not looking at that. There's not enough savings in it to warrant what we want to do.
And how much is,
That was $85,000.
Those are recent quotes that you got on that?
This one here is probably a year old right now. We have new ones coming up every spring. I have them come in when they do the maintenance for the spring and try to get updated quotes. They're already here. A lot of times they don't want, they want to charge you to come in and give quotes now.
Yeah.
It's so hard because there's a lot to it. So when they come in and do their spring maintenance, I give them my list of 3 quotes, which I've already sent off, of what new ones I want this year. Sometimes it's the post office, depends on when they're going in.
Did you add any contingency to that for price increase?
No, I will. Like I said, this is for next year, so everything, once I get the new quote, then we'll update all the
Yep.
prices. Correct. Yep. Okay, so number 6 for FY '24 is the municipal electrical upgrade. We are going forward with a generator project in this building. We've learned a lot, and there's more to learn as they come in, but as stated before, we have a patchwork of systems from many different decades here in this building. So the generator project's going to reveal a lot more, I think, once they start this project, of what's going to happen, how bad it is, I think. But we know it's pretty bad, and we know there's a lot that needs to be updated and upgraded. We have breakers that don't trip like they're supposed to. We have breakers that just trip, and we don't know why. It just happens. We do the best that we can, what we have, but definitely needs an overhaul. This will need an electrical engineer. I'm not an engineer. Like I said, in this quote, this estimate here of $185,000 was a local electrician counting how many panels, trying to figure out how, it's not a company, it's not someone who's going to come in and do the work. So an electrical engineer would be hired ahead of time, or should be hired ahead of time, have them go through and design it all, figure it all out. We have a lot of IT equipment. We tie in with the police department in several areas that would need to be considered. So this isn't just, this is just like, I don't know, like a quick number from a local guy, but this isn't digging into the walls, figuring out what we have. That's a lot of work. So, and of course, most of the vendors, they want to be paid to come in and do all that stuff, so,
You would need an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
A lot of the typical electrician wouldn't be exposed to a lot of stuff that you have in this building. You go all the way back to 1920, from the original build in 1950 for the addition, and then whatever got added in between, so you would definitely need some engineering done on
yeah,
it.
absolutely. And it's good, because as we found in the past, the unknown, you know, we found stuff that we didn't know was there, and I hate that part, but anyway. Number 7 for FY '24 is architectural and engineering first and second floor renovation here in the Municipal Center. This building's in really good shape, in my opinion. We've put a lot into it. We're going to put a roof on it. We've had discussions of expanding upstairs, and I really think we can ease the department stress, by moving people around, and so we can, but when we do, we really need to, like Chris was here saying, those safes in Gene's office, I can't do a carpet unless some safes are gone,
Right.
There's a lot that dominoes have to fall together to do stuff. And this was just the architectural engineering for the renovation. Figure out how much it's gonna cost, figure out what we need to change, who's gonna go where. I'd love to get the carpets done on the first floor here, which is gonna be my number 9 project coming up, but you need other things to fall so that can happen, and so that I have. Sure, no problem.
Yeah.
So that was my number 7, it's $45,000, and that's just basically just to have someone come in and start walking through the first and second floor and design some kind of a renovation to what Matt and Gene feel they need for their departments.
Yep. Back in 15, 16, we had Dixon Salo that did that evaluation, code review and everything for the second floor. Is that cost that you have in line with what we paid them to do that?
I don't actually know, because I don't know what it was. Yeah, I don't know what it was, honestly.
It may be helpful for you,
Yeah.
just check into that and see. He did a complete code review, obviously. Well, we're still in 2015, so it might actually still be good until they do the next code change, but you may want to check
Okay,
into
yeah.
that. I know there was a lot of talk about, from the fire department for the sprinkling upstairs, whether or not we needed it. It was back and forth with everybody, so
All right, yeah, I'll look into
check
it,
into Dixon Salo's report, maybe that'll help you.
absolutely. Number 8 was the post office HVAC unit. Same thing, that unit is 26 years old right now. It's a 10-ton unit, it's a very large unit. Whether it has to be a 10-ton unit, I don't know. That's what was there when they did the post office renovation, and it needs to be replaced. We've put in $9,500 into that unit since 2018, just trying to keep it running. You're already putting money into it. I don't. Last year, we would knock on wood, it had nothing wrong with it. So we do maintain it every year, but it's definitely time for us we have to do the coil inside, same thing as the air conditioner. It's got to be replaced. And let's see. So yeah, that's 26 years old. I'm just trying to think, to 10-ton, yeah. So it does the back half of the post office, basically like the working area, and then the main lobby. But it doesn't do the ramp going up. That ramp going up as a separate unit, which we've already replaced. So it's basically the lobby and the back unit, the back areas for the offices and the workers. But it's a large unit. And that was $60,000 to replace that one. And that,
You got away from 90.
this one, yeah. Well, I did the front one. Yeah, no, I did the front one. That was 90 before.
You were out of the room,
Yeah.
his first two, Matt, were.
The first two were 90s.
Exactly.
I'm rounding up some good numbers. But no, we actually did have around 90, but we ended up having the front air conditioner let go. The whole fan and everything rotted, and it dropped down and cut all the wires of. It's because we never got to replace it, so then we had no choice to replace it. And that is something that, this is part of the lease. We have to maintain air conditioning and heat for that building. So that's the only requirement that I have there. Again, we've looked at green communities, I've discussed it with them on a lot of these air conditioner products, and they don't want anything to do with it. It doesn't have enough savings for them. So, all right. My number 9 for FY '24 is flooring and carpet here in the town hall. So that I know, these are the original carpets that were put in. We wash them, we've been maintaining them, we keep them up, but it'd be nice to even do a whole painting the hallway, change the carpet, and do a lot of work like that, but the carpet themselves, the floors, we've patched the main entrance coming in, we just had some tiles done, they start lifting, we get, we wax it every year, we seal it back up, but we replace a couple of tiles as they go. So I had carpet lover come in, they walked through, they gave me this price, this is just for this room, the small meeting room, the hallway, down, this does not include any of the offices, because the offices, again, a part of the bigger picture, I think, and that includes the entrances, and that was $75,000.
Just out of curiosity, what was their opinion of this carpet in this room?
This room here, they liked it, they were actually talking about tile squares, so that way if you get a tear, because they said it wasn't in bad shape, wasn't horrible,
Yep.
but what he said was, the problem is when you get a tear in it, like outside of Gene's office, you can't fix it, then it's there. The police department made sense with the way they went to carpet tiles. You get a tear in a piece
They
of
did the
carpet,
same thing in the library.
that's it. You take the piece up, you put a new piece down, and you're able to keep going. You're not replacing the whole carpet every time you get a grease stain or you get something like that. But yeah, it wasn't too bad on this room here.
Yeah.
He had a
Yeah, I was
couple
just
comments.
curious, just sitting here looking.
Yeah, no, he had a couple of comments
Asked
more.
that question where
Yeah.
you had a professional look at it
Yep.
to see what their opinion.
The hallway carpet was the biggest one with them.
Yeah,
just
Gene's wore a spot.
Yeah.
The door, I don't know.
Gene's fault. But that was number 9.
It's only going to the left though, coming out of her door, so I don't know.
Everyone running out.
No, I think she's going to another room.
$75,000 for that one. FY 2025. So this one is changed a little bit, and I'm still working on this. It's my number 10 priority for $65,000. It was the Adult Social Center and Post Office lighting. It was on here, I had it done. We did get some funding, which I did add. $4,769 is going towards lighting for the Adult Social Center, which is great, so we are making progress. I don't know what that entails yet, I haven't read it. I just actually got emailed it right before we came in here. So that was through Green Communities.
Yeah.
I mean, they have some awful lighting down there, and I think a lot of it has to do with the mail cars run across the floor above
Yeah.
and shake the lights, and I constantly replace bulbs and ballasts and stuff like that, but so we did get some funding for that, which is fantastic, and, but the post office is the same way. It's got the old 3-bulb lighting systems. These are all 2, and they're more efficient, they're not LEDs.
Yeah.
So, and they pay the electricity bill for the post office section, but I pay for the ballasts and the lights. So it's part of the lease, that's how it works. The senior center, I pay for all the ballasts and lights, so, but they're very inefficient, again, and I think there was, useful life should be 15 years for the new ones. It seems like we're changing them every 10 years. They come out with something new, and we can get more efficient, and as we should. So that was number 10 for FY 2025. Number 11 is the renovation that we spoke of. The architectural engineer was the first one. This is just the renovation. So we have on $150,000. That's a placeholder, in my opinion. I don't know what it's going to cost until that gentleman tells me.
The renovation for the second.
First and second floor.
First and
Yep.
second floor.
So for here, yep, for the municipal center. So I don't know, the architect and engineer will come up with a better price than this, and again, we're a couple of years out already at this point.
Yeah.
But
And that doesn't.
$150,000.
That doesn't take it into account if, in fact, they determine we have to sprinkle it.
Correct, exactly, yep.
And I'm only mentioning it so
Nope.
people don't say, well, you said the whole thing.
Yeah,
Because
exactly. This is just,
If we have to do
Yep.
that, then that's going to be a substantial cost.
yep, and again, like I said, we're already paying for the heat up on the second floor. We want to replace the units on the second floor if deemed
Well,
appropriate.
you're down to 1, right?
Yeah, I'm down to one unit. That's
And you started off with how many?
4.
Right.
Yeah, so if everything goes right, that second floor, to me, if you can scan the documents in, you get rid of some of the paper.
Yeah.
You've got a great space up there. We're already maintaining it.
Well,
you
it's got
know.
all new windows.
It's
We have a new
it
heating
is.
system. We
Yeah.
have- well,
So, I mean, to me, it's a
new
great
roof.
space, it's usable space, it's perfect. The school vacated that in 2014, I think it was, 2015, somewhere in that area. So definitely can be used for the town hall, in my opinion. So I have $150,000 on that one, and again, that's FY 2025, number 11.
Can I interrupt you for a second?
Absolutely.
The windows on the second floor, when were those put in? You remember?
1996 for the project, the same as these windows, these are 96. Yep.
Thank you.
Number 12, for FY 2025 is the demo of 19 Main Street. It's been on there, everyone knows that Brown House, the town purchased it for the land, basically, because it was surrounded by town-owned land. The quote I have is for $50,000. That's to demo the building, we have to remove the oil tank and the boiler, and you have to have a pest company. When you demo a boiler, you have to have pest stuff out ahead of time. So that would cover all those costs, and then basically just level the lot. And also find the cesspool, which I'm assuming it has, which I'll have to find. But for $50,000 for that property. And the next one, since it's the same, was for the VFW building for 21 Main Street. I know there's been discussion about whether it's good or bad, the building, can it be used or not. That's not my judgment call, but I have it on here as a demo. I know it's a rock foundation. I know there's water every time it rains in the basement. I know there's mold throughout the building, and that's all you can smell when you walk in there. The heat was removed before my time, so I'm not exactly sure when it was. I would say probably around 2010 in that area. The copper pipe has been stolen because it's been broken into, so there's no piping throughout the whole building. They stole all the copper pipe on 19 Main Street and 21, and like it's the ceiling, the plaster's starting to fall onto the floor. So I mean, to me, it's just a storage area at the moment, but it's getting to the point it's not good for that. So, and that's $65,000 for that one. And again, that's for the Ransford Pest to do that. It's for the demo, and it's for the oil tanks to be removed and boiled that's left.
And you already had an evaluation done for asbestos on that
I
building?
did, correct. Yep. Well,
How old are those buildings?
you know what? I don't have it with me, but I do have a whole folder on that, honestly, and I don't have it written down here.
Everybody says they went to 4th grade or something in that.
Yeah, everyone went to school there.
For a minute.
Go ahead. Yeah, well, that's what I hear anyway. I have it, Dick, I do, back at my office.
But
but I
George
don't.
Washington probably didn't sleep.
No, neither one. No, neither one. No, definitely not that old, but, and I put these in there because that land is useful for something. That's the reason the town bought it. That's the reason they have it, and I'm sure at some point, whether it's a police station, a highway garage, a soccer field, or whatever anyone's using it for, I mean, that's why we have it. It's up to whoever, Matt and Gene and the powers to be, the selectmen, to decide what they want to do with it. And that would be I have one more left for FY 2025. I just want to wait for Mike.
There are some people out there, as far as the old school goes,
Correct.
that to them that's history.
Yeah, of course, absolutely, yep. Yep.
I've heard a few people say,
Yeah.
"Oh, well, you're not doing anything, the town's not doing anything about the railing,
Yeah.
the walkway." And some people have sentimental value to it.
Yep, I can understand that. It does. I mean, the fire chief will tell you, we all have sentimental value to the old fire station. I do. We all worked there, we all came out of there, but it
Yeah.
comes to a point where
The shelf life is,
it's it, exactly. I hate to throw good money at a bad project, unfortunately. So number 14, post office interior exterior painting. So we're back almost on that. It'll be almost there. We just did it last year. It'll be back up again for the $60,000. Again, it's part of our lease every 5 years to paint that. Unless Matt negotiates a different lease or a different type, I have it on here. Right now, we're in great shape. We just had it done last year, and the only, costs that happen are any touch-up paint that I do in the next couple of years till we get to this. And again, this is asked for a year in advance, basically, because we have to have it done on June of the year. So it's the way it lands, it looks like it's quick, but it's not,
Yeah. For everybody's benefit, the last time that Adam had it painted, he had a very good scope of work and had it done properly. Hopefully the next time around, he won't have as much damage and
Correct.
and stuff, so it could potentially be a little less than this.
Yeah. Quotes range from $48,000 to $55,000 last time. Again, this is 4
But it
years.
was pretty
3.
extensive,
It was.
your scope that you had.
Correct.
Because it really needed a very good job done just to get us stabilized, so then
Yeah.
it becomes a maintenance issue instead of a real job every 5 years.
Yep. And they did a great job. I've had nothing but compliments, so. Number 15, which puts me in FY 2026, is the Adult Social Center and Post Office windows. So this would need, I don't have any asbestos report. We need to do all that also ahead of time. There's 64 windows in this building. People don't realize that. Everyone's like, how can you ask for $275,000? This is a quote that we had, and I'm going to say it's been a few years now, probably 4 or 5 years. And he gave me a quote, I think it was 115 without the asbestos and lead. Did not include window shades, wall repair, painting, trim, any of that. It just was a window. It was from Modern Manufacturing, who we talked to about the gym windows. He was down, I kind of pinned him down to give me another quote on something. But once you add all this in, I need to know about asbestos, I need to know about lead, we have to go for that. Those windows are original, and there's a lot of them. You know, like I said, I'm of the type of person that we do the whole building, so we seal it all up, and we don't just pick the post office floor because they give us, lease, or, the senior center. I just like to do them all and get them done properly. But
Would any of that fall under green communities?
that,
Actually, because you talked about the HVAC, and ironically, you put notes down here about the very things that you're talking about.
Yeah.
The HVAC, doing the new air conditioning, the 10-ton unit that you have in there. But your windows, we all know how bad the windows are, and whatever insulation that there is in there. Would any of that fall under green communities potentially for a grant?
I'm sure some of it could, yes. I don't know the exact details. I don't know if they consider, since the town, the post office pays their own heat, pays their own stuff. I don't know. I know we give them some money, some numbers, but I don't know how much they count towards green communities, if that's part. But I would have to look into
Because the
that.
tenant's paying for it, then
Correct.
we would probably be exempt. Okay.
Yeah, that's the only catch that I can see anyway.
Yeah.
But as for the senior center, the upper floors, those are all ours, But anyway, so I had that was number 15 for $275,000, and that was FY '26. Number 16 was the police department electrical upgrade, and this one has a big asterisk on it because, as Mike knows, we're in the feasibility committee. If they decide to build a new police station, this goes out the window, because this is plenty enough for any offices or anything that needs to move down there. But for their IT, for their stuff that we're maxed out, we're completely maxed out. Brandon will tell you the panels are full. We were able to take off some electric heaters when the new units came in because we needed to make room. That's what we did. So if they decide to stay down there and we decide to chop this building up and give them half of this, or however, then that would need to be brought up. But as of right now, again, this is up in the air. It's still, I have it for FY 2026 for a reason, because we need to know what direction we're going to go to. So, but it's for $95,000. It's number 16 on my priority list. And again, it's all based on how the dominoes fall ahead of it. So this may not even be needed. My last one is the Municipal Center parking lot paving out here for $175,000, and that one, again, we did get a quote, but oil prices are dictating everything. It's not for 5 years, but the parking lot out there, as you can see, it's settling, the frost's getting to it, we've got cracks everywhere, we've crack sealed it a couple of times over the years, we've got a couple spots that are drainage issues out in the police department where the water collects, where they never put a drain, a few things that we need to address, but this parking lot was paved when the kids moved in '96. That's the last time, so it really needs to be looked at in 5 years. It's definitely going to need to be looked at, so. And that's for $175,000, and that's my number 17 on my capital list.
Anybody have any questions for Adam and his list of things?
Thank you.
A lot of hard work went into it.
That's it. And now I'll do highway department if no one has any questions on maintenance. John's in a meeting again, like I said, next door, so I'm going to jump to that. Too Shirley. And again, it is difficult. I know I've made this statement before. getting quotes year after year from the same people. They don't tend to like you after so long, because you ask them for stuff and you don't go forward, and so it gets tougher and tougher, so you try to spread it out a little bit, try to use different vendors. But they get a little aggravated after so long, but it happens.
Is it 50,000 the threshold for multiple bids, Matt?
Quotes after 10, advertised sealed bids after 50.
Okay, so after 10,000, we need multiple bids. So if it's not on a statewide contract, then if it's over 10,000, they'd have to get multiple bids, if they can. Because Matt just went through with the windows that it was like pulling teeth trying to get people to bid for them.
Yeah, unfortunately, right now, everyone's so busy. This has just been unbelievable. I've been talking to the senior center director, the library gentleman, and it's just been hard to get people to bid on stuff, to come out and look at projects, to give you quotes. They're just too busy for it. All right, so the capital for the highway department. We don't have, I have roadway paving is a priority one. I have two priority ones, and they're both kind of separate. The reason I did that was because they're kind of off to the side. They're really large projects. One's the roadway paving. We're basically, again, looking for money from the town to help. Oh, you want to go? You're up.
Oh, you're up, go ahead.
So we're looking.
He waited till you started
I know,
talking,
yeah.
and he came in the room.
Oh, he's on number one, that's great. So roadway paving, we have $360,000 in there. We were at finance the other night, had discussions with the town manager, and hoping the town could fund some of our paving. We get around $362,000 from Chapter 90 every year, and we're hoping the town will match that, or as much as they can. Anything's better than nothing, so it's on our capital list anyway. There's many areas, you've seen the potholes, you've seen the complaints, we all have. We love to pave it all. We have a pavement management study that we did in 2020, and we've gone through a lot of it, and of course, unfortunately, in another year, it's already time to re-up that pavement study again, and roads get worse, and, you know.
So the pavement study, their recommendation was at 1.4 million per year for the next...
1.7 million.
1.7.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep, and I think it was
for the next 20 years.
Yeah, 14 or 15 million total.
And I'm just bringing it up
Yeah.
so then
And so-
everybody's aware of what that is. So you're going to be at 700, you're about 35-40% of what the recommendation is for the
Each year,
paving.
yeah.
Through conversations with the town administrator, it's considered that the roads are part of our capital expense in town, because we need the roads, obviously, so.
So Adam,
It's not just buildings.
has highway paving methods changed in the last 30 years? I mean, in terms
So-
of grinding it down for a certain surface and
So,
drainage and
Our
groaning and all
our
that
issue
jazz.
goes back, unfortunately, a little longer than that. Our traffic's a lot worse than it used to be. Our town's growing. The way you could do it 30 years ago, put like 1.5 inches on the top, and everyone thinks it's brand new, and get away with it, though, you can't do that. You can't do that now. You got to grind it down. You can do it on a road like Cottage Street. You can do it on Cemetery Street or Railroad Ave, these little roads, but you can't do that on a Route 16, on a Southwest Main Street. Though you got to grind it down if there's enough to grind. Because that's what our former boss used to do, was put 1.5 inches, because how many people travel down Southwest Main Street, back then? Not many. So they do 1.5 inches. Well, there's nothing to grind, because it's all broken apart and it's all pieces. There's no material. The base isn't any good. So you put new gravel down, you start fresh, you grind it all in, and you have a good solid base to put it down. The roads we do now, you've got, what's it, 3.5?
2.5 inches of base, 1.5 inches.
Top, and then it's gonna last. It'll last.
But your subsurface preparation, what's it, 12 inches now of processed gravel that you would
Yeah.
at least have underneath?
exactly.
And historically, the roads weren't done like that, so
Just whatever was there. They used whatever material they had.
we're paying the price today for what was done yesterday is what it comes down to.
Yeah.
And does the highway department have a little bit of discretion on that, or does the state say you need so many inches of X? And how does that work?
Well, Mass DOT has standards they'd like you to use, but you can use discretion on like secondary roads, where we would put probably just 3 inches of mix, where the road's not going to take a beating, there's not going to be trailer dumps going back and forth all day and what have you, you know? So you can use some discretion, you know, one layer of 3 inches of asphalt, but we try to go 2.5, 1.5 of the state mandated mix, what the state uses.
Yeah.
The problem with doing less than what they recommend, you're back to where you are today. This is just going to resurface itself.
No pun intended.
That's right.
Exactly.
Further
yeah,
down,
I just-
further down the road, that's all.
Took me a minute.
And unfortunately, just like John and I have been in discussions
I only
already,
did that to see if you were paying attention, so.
John and I have been in discussions already talking about this year's asphalt price. Again, just like we were talking about my
They're up
parking lots.
They're up 30%
It's-
last time.
Yeah, exactly. So the price is going up, which means you're not getting as much done, you know? So the other one that we have on our list is the highway garage. That's, I'm sorry.
One more
Oh, yeah.
point on that, just so everybody's aware of his last year's DOT allotment that he, his Chapter 90 allotment that he had, it got all put onto the Cedar Street Bridge.
It did.
Yeah, so.
We
which is
still do
important
have-
For everybody to understand, because
We-
you didn't have it, now you don't have anything left to,
We do have some money left,
yeah,
but
And we do crack seal out of Chapter 90 also.
yeah,
So,
but it's minimal.
yep. So highway garage, our other number one, again, this is the reason I just put them both on the top, was a replacement of our current highway garage. Our garage is from the 1930s. It's served us well over the years. We do have some ventilation issues that we're working on, that we've got fans and try to get air movement. We are limited on space. That's actually our biggest thing. The trucks nowadays are bigger, so we can't back them in the front garage at all. I mean, we have to cut headboards down, and we mutilate a truck in order to try to get it inside. John and I have been in discussions about how, if we get a new truck, how we're going to proceed. So now you'll see one of my things is we're going to move the hot box from the old fire station up to the highway garage, put another truck down at Cottage Street, and this is how we go forward. We've been doing it. We angle trucks. I mean, I have pictures, you'll see, you know, throughout here, if anyone wants to see pictures, but they're online also. I also put in a report from an engineering company that we discussed when John and I took field trips. Mike's on the committee and took field trips to several places around all the highway garages and what they have, what they like, what they don't like. And we also reached out to an engineer who gave us a basic, basic cost analysis of what we should look for, you know, our size. He had me give him the trucks and what we have and how many people and all that. So again, it's to be determined. You know, that price from this year or last year isn't going to be what we're going to pay. It's based on where we're going to put it and if it stays there or what we need. If we need to move it, then we need a salt shed and a sand shed. If we don't, you know. So there's a lot to go into it, and we've been dealing with the feasibility committee and going through it all. Mike's been the chair of that also.
So those are the ones that I alluded to earlier about the to be determined, police, fire, and highway. We don't know what the scope of, we just outlined what the needs were to this point. So now they're going to proceed forward, and then they'll come up with the scope of what they actually have to try to put some numbers to it. So it's kind of hard to, other than a placeholder, hard to put a value to it. To show the voting public as to what we're thinking moving forward.
Yep, no, I'll go. Okay. So that was the two number ones anyway. Again, I just left them there. So number 2 for FY 2023 is a new international dump truck, sander, and plow for $215,000. This will replace our 2001 international dump truck, plow, and sander. And we use this during the winter, we use it during the summer, we have water main breaks, we still have gravel roads that we grade, and we have to haul dirt and material to them. So this truck's in poor shape. It's a 2001. It was great for us. It's been doing a great job. We have breakdowns with it more and more. Unfortunately, both trucks that we have on here are both 2001 trucks. So, and they both seem to act up the same time.
Were those the 2 trucks that were down during that big storm that you had to bring in the outside vendor with the?
One out of the two.
One
of the two.
Yep. And the other one was a 2008. But yeah, we had to bring outside vendors in to cover us because both trucks, we had 2 trucks break down during a big storm, and so.
Is the idea for a brand-new truck?
Yes. And again, in order to take the truck, we'd move the hot box from the Cottage Street up to the highway garage. We'd move the 2008 down to Cottage Street, and we put the new truck inside in our garage. So we've kind of been brainstorming, trying to figure out, there is no room in our garage. The pictures will show you online, we don't have room. It's just what it is. It's a great building for when they built it, and they had good times, but unfortunately, those have passed. And again, this truck has body rot, there's holes through it, the frames, it's the sheeting off, the rust. So, and again, they're all on SharePoint, all the pictures I put with the truck, and also the quote from the dealer. That's number 2. Number 3 is a new sidewalk tractor for $170,000. So John and I have been on this for a couple of years now, trying to go back and forth on what type, because we saw like, Bobcat has this new one. We were like, great. We were like, let's go try it out. Let's see what the reviews are. We don't jump in it. We want to see what other people say about it. I don't want to be the test pilot for anything, like if I don't have to be. So unfortunately, there were mixed reviews on Bobcat. It seemed like the sidewalks that were big and open and wide were perfect, and the narrow ones with poles in them are not good, because you just do more damage, and that's what we have. So, I mean, it's not about the product, it's about what we need, necessity for us. We also went to, what was the other company that was there? I can't remember the one that showed up. What is it? Holder. You know, same thing. We went back and forth, and we ended up coming back to the same company that we have right now for $170,000. The track list, the reason the old boss bought it was for the same reasons that we're basically looking into now. It fits what our needs are, it gets into tight areas, and can do the job. So this will replace our current sidewalk tractor. Again, there's pictures online on our SharePoint of the machine and what it's doing, and it's seen better days. You know, unfortunately, it's getting crusty, and you know, it takes a beating. It's not easy being out there during them storms. So, we have a proposal attached to it also. So that was number 3 for $170,000. And number 4 is for a lawnmower for 2023, and for $37,000. So we have, back in, I want to say what did we take over the ball fields? 2013? 2010. We took over all the town ball fields. 2013, we took over all the town buildings for mowing. The ball field had one mower. We purchased one mower. We received another mower through a gift from some of the ball field people. So this mower would replace all 3, 2 out of the 3, I'm sorry. We would keep the 2005 model because it's a smaller model and we can get into some of the tight spots. This is a big model. This would go down the ball fields and be in them big open areas, get it done. The big lawns, it picks up leaves, the common. We have all the commons to pick up. So this is what this model would do, and it would replace 2 out of the 3. We'd still keep the 2005 model for like the lawn here in the Municipal Center. It's hard with, you know, them little hills and everything. But we would be able to get rid of 2 out of those. And it's for $37,000, and it's number 4. And again, there's a price and there's some information on the machine on SharePoint.
When you say all the ball fields, does that include the school ball fields?
No. Just Martin Road, Soldiers Field, the ones that are there.
Nice try.
It's a question that's going to pop up when you say
Absolutely.
all.
All the ball fields,
what
correct.
all means.
Yeah, I always look at town side, I don't think of the school, so yep, you're absolutely right.
I ask you all trucks, you'll say, well, the one's inside.
Yeah. Number 5 for FY 2024 is another international dump truck. It's to replace the other 2001 plow, sander, dump truck plow and sander. Again, this one, it's going to replace number 6. We've already taken the dump body off of this truck, number 6 truck, because it rotted out, so we put a flatbed on it in order to keep our sander mounted on it so we can still use it. Again, it was a great truck. It's been a good truck. It was a smaller truck. These are the ones that we can fit down front, but it's just the times, you know, the frames are sheeting rust off of them. We've had many breakdowns with these trucks, and again, it's 2001.
So the truck's proposed with a new plow and a new sander for it?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And this was a 2001.
Yep, same, yeah, both number 3 and number 6 trucks are 2001s.
How much was that one?
$215,000.
Was that, those sanders typically bought with the trucks, like the 2001, those 2001 sanders on?
Yeah.
That, yeah.
Unfortunately, one of the things we're finding too, we have.
did pretty good to get us into the last 20 years.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the stainless steel body, that's the only reason.
Exactly. And the Torwell sander, unfortunately, Torwell went out of business. So that's one of the other things we're running into.
Yeah,
Of
they
course.
made them too good and they didn't buy it.
Exactly, and that's what G-Quip used to tell us. I should have never sold stainless steel sanders, because I ran out of business. But, and they went out of business, so we've found a place where we can get parts right now, but it's getting harder and harder. The newer trucks don't come, they come with a highway sander, a different type of
Will
sander.
the new sanders be stainless steel?
Yes, yep. Yeah, we like them to last.
Yep,
It
no,
works. So again, that was number 5, 215,000, number 5. Number 6 is to replace the 2008 John Deere loader for FY 2024. It's $230,000. It includes a plow for the loader. We currently have an old plow that we have made ourselves and jury-rigged to fit the loader, and this would replace the plow and the loader.
Is there a trade-in value to the one that you have?
It was, last year, it was at, I think, $35,000.
Is that figured into this price?
It is not, no trade-in. We figured once we get closer to it.
Well, yeah, it might
Yep.
absorb the
Yeah,
increase. Yeah.
correct. And that's what we did. We had that thought. I mean, it's always,
We asked the same question of the school department when they were talking about the tractor, that's why I brought
Correct.
it up.
and we like that. You're almost, we go back to the old loader, and that was my first year here. We blew a motor in the loader, and they replaced the motor to trade it in a year later. How much?
Still lost money.
And we lost money. You know, it's just, we try to get rid of something like
That's
this.
like putting an inch of asphalt on the,
Yeah.
on the roof.
It's just that you try to get rid of them before you get to this point. You don't want to get
Putting
there.
out a fire because you need that loader.
Sure.
Yeah, but you try, you know,
Yeah.
and so we're trying to plan ahead of time. So that was number 6 for $230,000. It was a John Deere loader with plow. And again, our quote was attached to it. Number 7 is for a brush cutting tractor with a side mower. So it's $174,000. We hire out right now to do all the roadside brush cutting. In the last couple of years, we now have all the detention ponds to take care of per this MS4 requirement. The ones that fall in our MS4 district, now we have to maintain. We have to cut all the brush, we have to maintain them, we have to keep them open. So it's another unfunded mandate that we have to now do. It includes all our catch basins, some have to be done twice a year. Certain ones that are in this whole regulated area, we have reporting. That's what Matt Benoit was discussing. That's why I jumped in about the ArcGIS, because all this is part of that. We have to do all the catch basins, and we have to do some twice a year. All the detention ponds are supposed to be cut and maintained and inspected every year. All our outfalls have to have water quality tests done to them. Right now, we have the engineering firm doing that, but eventually, slowly, we are taking on this task. And Matt is part of it, and with the ArcGIS system.
So you mean every detention pond in town?
Not every, only ones that fall in this reg, we don't have to.
Just in a certain part.
The ones that are regulated in our area. Right now, I think that, I might even have it in here, and if I didn't, it's my own
In
fault.
front of the fire station.
There's a whole bunch, yeah, there's a bunch of ones that fall in, and I'll look.
Are they mostly in the downtown part?
So, right, like Pond Street has 3. Downs Road has 3. Downs Road, you can't even see them. Like, they're filled right in, looks like woods. Like, there's trees growing up. You know, we had 2 cut this year on Downs Road. I'm trying to think where else there was. I think Woodland will be one once, well, we just took it over. Woodland, they just cut all the brush. We had them before we took it over, cut
Hilltop
everything.
Drive.
Hilltop Drive, certain ones. It's wherever these regulated areas, it's where the water flows. So Hilltop Drive, believe it or not, is part of the Long Island Sound.
Yeah.
All right, and get me, but this is what they map it out.
making it up.
Yeah, I'm telling you, that I wouldn't believe him either when he told me. But he said it's something to do with the water, it makes it that far, and this is why it's regulated. So, so there's certain areas that we have, plus we all have our other ones, and the ones that are not regulated, it'd be nice to, just to be able to keep up and maintain them.
Yeah.
You know, and
How much did you say?
174,000, number 7.
And just a point, this is something that I'd even take into consideration with these new developments and everything else. When the roads get approved through the town, people think, well, all right, so we've got to plow the roads. You're inheriting retention ponds and
Yeah.
everything else. So,
Retention-
there's a lot more to it than just plowing the street when we accept these new subdivisions.
And as we've seen, we go out to bid for our brush cutter every year, and it gets less people, and now we're down, I think last year had
Yeah.
two people bid on it, for brush cutting on the side of the road.
Well, you have one individual that's very economical,
He is.
for lack of a better term.
Yeah,
Yep.
exactly.
And you're in fear of the fact that you may lose that individual
I
at some point.
don't believe once this,
I
I
think his
believe once this
statement was
tractor's
one breakdown away from retiring.
not coming back.
Exactly.
You know.
He'll just retire and that'll be it. So, and that's it. We don't own our own equipment, so,
And we spend about $20,000 a year just with this gentleman we subcontract with. So,
and so again, number 7, brush cutter and tractor with side mower, $174,000.
Is all your, so, sorry to interrupt you, your employees, it's requirement for the hoisting license and everything else, so everybody would be able to,
we'd have to get.
you don't have a specialized employee to
No.
operate this.
We'd
meeting.
have to get the licenses.
It's a 4E for this
Yeah, it's a
one?
special, so we, right now, we only have one gentleman who has it.
Yeah.
It's a special, they used to all be under one license, 4A, and then you covered them all. They got rid of 4A and everyone was separate. So now we would have to get, everybody but one gentleman who has it would have to go get that,
Yeah.
take that test.
Because we don't know if Ernie doesn't come into work. we won't-
So, hey, we're all on our,
We're all
we're
going
out.
home.
That's exactly it. He was grandfathered in, that's why. 2026, we got a pickup truck with a plow. It's number 8 for $60,000. Again, right now, it's John's pickup truck that we plow. It's a 2015 model. And again, this is a few years out, but this truck goes out. John has this truck. We plow with it. If we have a breakdown of any subcontractor, John or I inherit that route for the storm. So these trucks.
What year is that, John, that orange truck?
2015.
2015?
Yep. So we inherit it, so that it's out there. Again, plowing beats on vehicles, unfortunately. Everybody knows if you ever owned a plow truck, it just does a lot of damage to it. It's great to have it, but again, it's our priority number 8 for $60,000 for 2026.
And what kind of shape is that in now?
It's in very good
Good
shape.
shape, yeah.
Yeah,
Got a little bit of rust starting to show in the spring. I want to send it to the body shop and get that.
yeah, you don't want it to look like that red truck that
Yeah,
But
red
I don't think there's another
That
one
red
that could
truck's
look
gone.
that bad.
Matt will have something else.
Yeah.
Stuff
No.
with banana peels in it.
That's it.
Mileage is low on that?
Like 55,000 right now.
Number 9 is in FY 2026 is another international dump truck. This will replace the 2008 truck. Again, this is one of the trucks that broke down during that blizzard that we were stuck without and had to hire 2 subcontractors extra to try to make it work. If you look at the body rod, it's just surprising. You wouldn't believe this is a 2008 truck. They're just not made to last like the old ones. When I first started the highway, we had 1979 trucks that we were running. That's the year I was born. So, I mean, we were running them and I was driving it, and it was fine. Yes, don't look at me.
How many active trucks are in the highway department that are reliable?
Let's see.
There's 6 large.
6 large, yeah.
dump trucks
Reliable.
with Sanders.
Yeah, don't go too far on that question.
Yeah, how reliable?
Where do we? Yeah. Yes. So this one, yeah, replaces a 2008 truck. We just had to do a fuel tank in it. It's just, they rust right out. Same with the oil pans on them. They rot out on the bottom. Again,
You do those repairs in-house?
As much as I can.
Yep.
I try to do it myself.
That fuel tank you did in-house?
We did. Oh, no, actually,
250.
Jared
250.
Zotto helped me do that. Yep.
So,
Yeah, and
Yeah.
that's not cheap either, replacing fuel tank.
No,
No.
I did air tanks on that truck. It was $1,500 for the parts. I did it myself, and it took 2 of us a whole day to do it. But, you can double that price if you send it out to the shop, I'm sure. We don't have an active mechanic, but I'm mechanically inclined. I try to do a lot of stuff
I
myself.
heard you're pretty handy with generators,
Been there. Yep.
specifically water pumps.
the last one is number 10 is $178,000. It's for FY 2027 for our John Deere backhoe. Right now, our current backhoe is a 2014.
14.
And it's used tons of tasks. That backhoe goes out almost every day. Unfortunately, the backhoe sits outside. And that, you can see the way, the damage it's doing, just the sun alone, sitting outside is not good for it. But right now, we're in good shape. We always keep our equipment maintained. The guy, we always, if we see something that's fixed, we try to keep on it. And But by 2027, this backhoe will be ready to go, and hopefully, knock on, we'll be looking at maybe a new building, and the new one won't sit outside.
Will it be ready to go because it's sitting outside?
It's a big part of it.
Well,
It's a
that
big
and the
part of it.
hours.
Yeah, the
You know,
hour, yeah.
we're at over 6,000 hours now. Anything by 9, 10,000 hours, you don't want to be
Yeah,
holding
on all
on.
heavy equipment.
Yeah.
You're just
Good rule of-
waiting for one bad breakdown to cost you a fortune.
But the weather between,
Yeah.
not just the paint, it's all those hoses and everything else that's
Yep.
exposed to the elements that break down.
And that's it for the highway department.
Anybody have any questions for
There you go, Sheriff.
Adam and John?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Yeah.
everyone.
Nobody's got questions, you're good to go.
Thank you.
Right.
On here, it says set agenda for our next meeting, but we already set our agenda for the meetings. Yeah. Because we already made our list as to who was coming in on what date, so we should be good there.
So a week from today at 10, correct?
Correct. Good. Oh, you guys are going to be remote, so I just have to make sure that we have Zoom set up.
Yeah, who are we doing next Monday?
I can walk over and get the list. I don't know off the top of my head.
No.
The, just have a question for the town administrator. That's going to be the 7th. We have a situation where two members, Shirley and Ellie, don't have access to the SharePoint. Is there a way that we can get that to them or email the, kind of bombard their email with the request that we have in there? The fire department is a pretty big file, as well as the highway department with all the stuff that Adam submits with the pictures and everything. Any suggestions how we could potentially get that information to these two? Ellie, I think, is coming back, but if they want to review it at all, well, Adam was nice enough to give you what he had printed out to bring. Do we, for these two members, just print out what they need? Probably be the easiest thing for the time being until we figure out how we get past that.
Yep.
So what we'll do is, I'll probably talk to, well, I just talk to Lisa and have them print out 2 packets just for Shirley and Ellie. We can have them here in the town hall and they can pick them up at their leisure prior to next meeting. Does that work for you, Shirley? Yeah. If nobody has anything else, we can entertain a motion to adjourn, whereas we don't have any minutes yet to review.
I'll move we adjourn.
We have a motion by Mr. Vandenberg, because his voice projected louder than yours, even though it was simultaneous. Looking for a second?
I did.
And a second by Shirley Mazinski. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thanks, everybody.